Hello everyone, welcome to Football Pandit and welcome to another live stream where we are going to discuss about the latest football transfer rumors and the latest transfers that have been done. So, without wasting much of time, let's get started. The first big news that we have is where Luka Modric has undergone a medical and completed all the formal steps to join AC Milan. Now, we already know that he wanted to stay at Real Madrid, but it was time that Real Madrid thought that they should part ways with the amazing footballer that he is. And after working with Real Madrid and giving us all those memories, he has finally left Real Madrid and he will be joining AC Milan. So, no signature official steps before that, as Modric wants to focus on Real Madrid at the best level possible until the end. So the deal is almost about to be done where Modric will be going to join AC Milan. It's just that might take a bit of more time. I think for Modric, I think this is a good deal where he will still be able to play because I think his time at Real Madrid, he will not be getting any more game time. Real Madrid already have got a lot of young players and they will prioritize their game time rather than giving it to Luka Modric. And I think this was the best time, and maybe he left in the best of the moments. Now, on the second news that we have is Leroy Sané has joined Galatasaray. Now, there were a lot of rumors about the Premier League club being into it, Arsenal being one of them, where it was said that since Nico Williams was getting a bit costly, Arsenal might turn their attention towards Leroy Sané, and maybe they will try to, because he was already coming on a free, it was a free transfer, but the only question mark was his age. We already had a lone player with Sterling 30 years of age, and I think Sane is close to 29 or 30 as well. So the question was, will he be able to perform at that level? He has not been amazing for Bayern Munich this season, and he is not getting the regular game time there as well. And since he has not renewed his contract, I think he would have been maybe a bit happier to play in the Premier League. And I thought Arsenal would like to go for him because Nico Williams' deal is looking a bit more complicated than I initially thought it would. And maybe Arsenal, looking at the wages that it would cost, they are trying to turn their attention towards other players. However, the most likely what we are linked with is Rodrigo for that same position. However, that is still unclear because according to the recent reports that came, Rodrigo would like to have a discussion with Xabi Alonso, the new Real Madrid manager, before he concludes anything. So, if you know, Rodrigo has been playing on the right wing, at the center midfield, and all the other positions, but not the left wing, which is his primary position or the preferred position that he wants to play. And with Mbappe and Vinicius already at the flanks, I am not sure if he will be getting the game time or the position for Real Madrid. So I think he would like to clarify things with Xabi Alonso before making a final call. But I think if Rodrigo gets available and if he's there on the market, I think just splash out the money, Arsenal, and get him because we really need a sensational signing that will really rejuvenate the fans. Like as much as we have good players, as much as we have young generations with a bit of mixed and they play well, the chemistry is good in the team. We don't have a marquee signing. We don't have anybody where we can say that, look at that guy, he is a baller. So we don't have like very close to that would be Saka, but apart from that, we don't have anybody we can call with the same thing. But I thought that maybe Arsenal would maybe as a backup would try to tend their emotions or their direction towards Leroy Sané, but that's not to be. He is a Galatasaray player. Here we go, 3 years deal signed right now. Sané will fly to Istanbul, and I think that already happened tonight for medical and contract signing as he leaves Bayern Munich. And this is a confirmed, done and dusted by the man himself, Fabrizio Romano. In terms of the other big movements that happened, Kevin De Bruyne, a maestro of the midfield, along with Modric, they both are going to play in the Serie A. Kevin De Bruyne has landed in Rome and he will be going for his medical test as a new Napoli player. So that is also done and dusted. All the rumors about he might go to Saudi and this and that and all that are close. He is a Napoli player and he will join with McTominay. and maybe it will improve McTominay's goal scoring. He's already doing a wonderful job there, but uh, I think De Bruyne will only push it further. Now, this is an interesting thing that has come up where Di Marzio has stated that with the possibility of Theo Hernandez leaving AC Milan, the AC Milan are evaluating a move for Alexander Zinchenko. Now, as much as I really wanted him to move, or maybe other Arsenal fans as well, it seems a bit difficult because in January, Arsenal were demanding a fee of 20 million pound, and I think nobody even came close to it, or nobody even came asking for a move for Alexander Zinchenko. So I think Arsenal would have to maybe lower the asking price for them to get this over the line if they even want to. But as far as Zinchenko I'm concerned, I think it will be a good move for him because let's understand it. We already have Calafiori. We already have Timber who can play a backup. We already have Kivio who can play a left back. We already have Miles Lewis Skelly, who maybe has positioned his position as a left back. But maybe even if you think that maybe finally we'll move Lewis Skelly towards the midfield, and that's where he originally wanted to play. But still, I don't see a role or a position that is there for Zinchenko in the long term. Maybe he can come in the off games on a bit of rotation, but I think it's still better that we offload him right now when we might get a bit of value out of him. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think? Should we sell Zinchenko? I think we should, but let me know your thoughts. Now, this is a breaking news that has hit the Twitter right now, or maybe X, I should say. But this is the breaking news. This has just come over an hour back, where Manchester United have now officially entered the race for Hugo Ekitike, the guy from Frankfurt who has had a splendid season and has scored a lot of goals. It is said that United made contact with Frankfurt within the last 48 hours, expressed their concrete interest, and gathered all the relevant information. This is from Pretty Google. And let's understand this. United, even though they have Zerski, they have Hoylund, none of them have been firing to the expectations of the Manchester United fans. None of them have delivered even close to what the fans would have thought by getting them on such a huge price. And they are desperate for a striker as well. Now, the challenge that Manchester United have is first of all, the money. So, since Manchester United have not qualified for the Champions League, it really puts them on a very bad state. So, all the big players, let's take, for example, any big striker that you call out for, or any big name that you try to call out for, the only thing that they will want is to play in the European football as well. And Manchester United cannot offer that. They are not in the Europa League, not in the Champions League, not even in the Conference League. So this state doesn't look good for them. However, they have been able to pull Konya. They are very close to pulling Buemo as well, and I think that will get over the line. And I think both of these are exceptional. So the brand is still able to pull all the players that are there. So let's not mistake just Champions League football for that. But still, money wise, they need to offload some of the players. We already have links of Garnacho being offloaded for sure, but let's see where he goes, or if United get a good money from him. But this will be a very interesting signing. A couple of days back, or maybe just a day back, there were a lot of links of Manchester United trying to persuade Viktor Gyökeres in trying to move him to Manchester United, with Amorim being the main person who was trying to trigger all these things. But I think the problem with Gyökeres is, even though he would love to join back with Amorim at Manchester United, maybe the asking price from Sporting is a bit too much. Maybe Gyökeres wants to play in the Champions League. He is close to 26, 27 years of age at the peak, or maybe his prime, and he would want to play the Champions League football right away rather than maybe working with Manchester United for an year, then coming back to the Champions League and then playing it. So that looks a bit skeptical, but let's see what happens. But this will be an amazing deal if Hugo Ekitike goes. So if you see the transfer news live, they also have said Manchester United officially entered a race to sign Hugo Ekitike from Frankfurt. And let me show you something about this guy. The Frankfurt striker, just 22 years of age. So he's very young, the same age as Benjamin Sesko. And if you see, he has scored 15 goals and 8 assists in the Bundesliga last season. In the Europa League, he has scored 4 goals and 3 assists. So a total tally of 22 goals and 12 assists in the last season, which is very good. I have to tell you this. And just to make you understand how good this is, let me check for Sesko, and then you will understand what I'm trying to say. So let me check for Benjamin Sesko, and let me check for stats, current season, and here you see the difference. So that guy had 12 assists. This guy has only 6 assists, 13 goals, 5 assists, no assists in the Champions League, 4 goals in the Champions League. So goals wise, there is not much of a difference, 21, 22, but assist wise, there is a huge difference. Age wise, again, there is no difference. Both of them have the same age, 22 years of age. And I think both of them are pretty good, but I'll still say that maybe Hugo Ekitike might be a bit better when it comes to the overall play. But let's see what happens. Now, the biggest news came with this particular news. Viktor Gyökeres' agent is currently having a meeting with Arsenal, and this really just boomed over the internet. And everybody was quoting the same thing that maybe Arsenal are going back to Viktor Gyökeres, and the agents are already in London trying to speak to Arsenal. And then came another news which was broken by Fabrizio Romano, which is a tense situation between Viktor Gyökeres and Sporting. Despite previous pact for exit worth fee around 65 million euro with a bit of add-ons, Sporting president insists on a higher fee. Price under 100 million clause but not 65 million euro. Gyökeres described as furious. Now, let me tell you, this has already happened with a lot of players. Harry Kane, Mbappe, with Sesko right now, and now with Gyokeres. They all seem to have this gentleman's agreement, if I have to say, where they verbally discuss something. They try to say that, okay, I'll play for this year, and next year, when a big club clubs to me and offers you a deal around maybe this margin, you would let me go. And there is a verbal agreement between the player and the club, or maybe the president and the sporting directors and everybody, and they think like, okay, this is fine, this is already done, and we will I will be able to move if a big club comes to me. Now with Gyökeres, let me show you something before I say that. Now this is the stats for Gyökeres from last season. If you see, he has scored 39 goals, 8 assists. In the Champions League, he has scored 6 goals with no assists. And again, in the other cups, he has scored 5. In the Alliance Cup, he has scored 4 and with a couple of assists. So, with taking his tally for the season, 50 goals and 13 assists. Now, in any way or form, whichever league you play, at least in Europe, I think this is an outstanding number, a number which might be unbeatable, which he has it. Now, what happens because he has this number is the sporting director for Sporting CP, Federico Varandas. He said that I guarantee you that Victor Gyökeres won't leave for 60 million euro plus a 10 million euro in add-ons because I didn't promise him that. This game his agent is playing is only making the situation worse. And to top it up, what has recently happened is Gyökeres has unfollowed Sporting from his handles on Instagram or any other handles that he was maybe working on. All of them have been unfollowed, and there is a huge dispute that is internally happening because I think the move is being blocked by the Sporting themselves, where maybe multiple clubs would have approached them given that he already had a 60 million euro price tag on him with a bit of add-ons, but now Sporting, as quoted by Fabrizio Romano, they are asking not 100 million but close to 100 million. So I think they would be asking close to 90 million euro or something. And most of the Premier League clubs would not like to go for that. So I think that is currently what is happening. If you see again, like even in the transfer daily life, they have said that Gyökeres, uh, this again, this is something that I am really not sure if this would have happened, because if suppose, let's say for example, if the Sporting really want close to 90 or 80 million euro for that, this handle from Record Portugal, they stated that Arsenal have submitted an official bid for Viktor Gyökeres, 55 million plus 10 million in add-ons. The offer was made during the meeting that happened yesterday when the Gyökeres agent and they were in London, and Sporting are expected rejected. Now, let me just ask you, if they already know, because I think they would have surely had this internal discussion. They would be surely be aware about what Sporting is asking. It doesn't matter what the player wants. It doesn't matter what the agent was. Gyökeres still has a 3-year contract left with them, so they are not in a rush anyway. So if they already know that the asking price will be closer to close, maybe 80 to 90, giving them a 55 million euro plus 10 million add-on, I don't think it makes sense. Even though it comes from the Record Portugal, I would not put my hopes on it, whether the information is true or not. But let's see if it happens. If it is there, it is surely to be rejected, and maybe Arsenal go back with a better offer. But I think maybe this also creates a bit of confusion with the whole Sesko thing that Arsenal were having, where there were concrete maybe talks from Arsenal, which Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, everybody posted that Arsenal are in concrete talks and maybe things are advancing on this Sesko talk with RB Leipzig, but it is not there. And currently, it seems like we are moving back to Gyökeres, maybe making a bid. It just seems a bit confusing to me right now. But what sense I can make is, with Sesko, Arsenal already were in contact for the last close to 1.5 season, where they were trying to make sure, check with Leipzig that hey, we want to make come and get Sesko. Sesko last year said that he wants to stay for one more year to make sure that he is fit to play in the Premier League, and then he can make that move. Right now, when Arsenal would have gone, maybe the asking price or maybe the price at that time would have been close to 65 to 70 million euro. Arsenal would have gone back for him with that price, but now Leipzig would be asking for close to 80 to 90, something in the very similar lines to what Gyökeres is happening. And now, because Leipzig don't have a Champions League football next season, so they need the money. So I think they would be quoting higher for higher for Sesko. And there are some agent talks that are happening and some rumors that are spreading where how Saudi league teams are also in for Sesko and they would like to give him whatever Leipzig is demanding. But Sesko is like he still wants to play in the Premier League. He's very young to move to the Saudi league and things like that. So these all are creating a bit of confusion. But I think it's the price tag that might trigger Arsenal to go back on Gyökeres. I would personally like Gyökeres to come to Arsenal over Sesko, but that's my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think. But if this happens, if Arsenal get Gyökeres, I think he's a striker ready to hit the floor right now. Whereas Sesko, I still feel he's a bit of a makeshift striker. It might take him a couple of years to settle down. He's very young. And Arsenal, to be honest, they need to win things now. They need to start getting the silverware up apart. Otherwise, the young players like Saka, Saliba, Odegaard, and maybe let's take Declan Rice as well. So all of these players will start leaving Arsenal to get that silverware. So I think Arsenal need to act very smartly. But do let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this? I already showed you his stats, but the stats like they are unbelievable for any player. Now, the good news for Manchester United, the Matheus Cunha deal is confirmed, a 5-year deal with a option to add on a 62.5 million pound deal completed from Wolves, and he is a Manchester United player. Cunha was today unveiled as well, and this is what he had to say for Manchester United, where he said, "It is hard to put into words my feelings about becoming a Manchester United player. Ever since I was a child in Brazil watching Premier League games on TV at my grandmother's house, United was my favorite English team, and I dreamed of wearing that red shirt. I thank you. I want to thank to my family and everyone who has helped me make that dream become a reality. I think this is a superb signing for Manchester United. To be honest, I think he is a top baller. He has been ex- like special this season for Wolves. And to add this with Buemo, who has been specifically played superbly for Brentford, I think this will be very two good signings. Now, this is where I am not sure if how true this is. This comes from a United handle. Manchester United will hold further talks with Victor Osimhen on the two conditions if he shows genuine interest and lowers his wages. And let me get one thing straight. So if you see, there are potentially only two, maybe let's take four strikers that are in the market. Osimhen is one of them. So let's say Isak is not there in the market because Newcastle have qualified for the Champions League. He still has a long contract. He has the wages, so there is no point of Isak leaving Newcastle to join any other club. So he's off. So it leaves with Sesko, Gyökeres, Ekitike, and Osimhen. These four strikers, two of them young, two of them in their prime. So Osimhen, Gyökeres in their prime, 26, 27, and Sesko and Ekitike, 22 years of age. So fairly young, but still very promising. Now, if you see these Osimhen, they like Chelsea needs a striker, Liverpool needed a striker, Manchester United needs a striker. Again, like they have a striker, but they need a new striker because Højlund and Zelski they cannot hold the line and they cannot give the results that Manchester United are looking for. And Arsenal need a striker. And all of them, out of all of them, nobody went for Osimhen. There were huge links with Al Hilal, which broke down eventually, where he said that he would not like to move to Saudi League, and that broke down. But none of them have concretely went for Osimhen. I think the main reason for that is his wages. And I think Napoli last season, where they were trying to when it comes to last season when Chelsea were trying to get this deal done, there were also very much speculations around the wages, and finally the move didn't go through, and Osimhen had to go to Galatasaray. Even if Galatasaray want to keep Osimhen, I think Osimhen would have to take a wage cut. Napoli were very serious about offloading Osimhen because they want to get that money. They cannot pay the wages. So let's see what happens, but I will not put too much weight on this news with Osimhen. However, I'll put more weight on the Ekitike deal because I think that looks more feasible and I think that looks more promising in terms of he would surely want to come to Manchester United. He will be perfect for their wages. They would not have to offload a huge, maybe on a very huge amount of money to get that guy over the line. Now let's talk about this brother. Nico Williams has told Bayern that he's open to a move to Germany. His management is in talks with the Bundesliga side. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, but I will tell you my personal views on Nico Williams. Nico Williams, I think he is young, very promising, with too much of potential, but he's still way too young. His numbers during his international games are very different to his numbers during his domestic games or his in the La Liga. And I have seen him play only a couple of times for Atletico Bilbao, and I think he looked like maybe above average, but not some player where we, any team would like to splash in close to 60, 70 million euro and give him a wages that he is demanding. Now, if you remember, Atletico Bilbao, they are trying to. So Atletico Bilbao hope to agree a pay rise and contract extension with Nico Williams to stave off the interest from Bayern Munich, Arsenal, and Chelsea. So Atletico Bilbao are trying to get this deal done where they're trying to extend the contract, but it seems Nico Williams is demanding a huge pay rise, and that is becoming a bit of a problem for Atletico Bilbao, and I think a problem for Chelsea and Arsenal as well, where even though these both clubs like the player, they are not sure if the amount of wages along with the release clause close to 60 to 70 million pound, if that is worth Nico Williams. So this is something that we need to think about. This is something that maybe the clubs are checking on it. But So somebody in the chat has mentioned why so serious. So maybe I'll try to just soften up. So let's see. Thank you for that. The other thing that I wanted to mention was I think with the departure of Sane, Bayern Munich would definitely want somebody to get in, and I think Nico Williams would perfectly suit the kind of profile that they are looking for. But I'm still not sure about the wages part because I think that looks a bit worrying for me. So if you see the transfer news live, they said that Nico Williams is open to a move to Bayern Munich. The Spanish forward is asking for a 20 million euro a year salary. Release clause again, it's 60 to 65 million euro. So let's see what happens, but it's a bit strange if maybe he gets that amount of salary. So even Fabrizio Romano right now, just an hour back, he quoted Bayern top target for this summer remains Nico Williams, who's also top of Arsenal's list. Now we have a lot of players in Arsenal list, but none of them that we are getting over the line. But let's see what happens. Bayern met with his camp twice this month. More meetings will follow.